bit more about the Let's Beat Breast Cancer campaign. It's to help raise awareness about how nutrition and lifestyle can help reduce our risk of breast cancer. So I'd like to thank the CCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, a national nonprofit organization, for sponsoring this rally, and we thank you all for continued support, getting the word out about how life-saving message with simple four-pronged approach to breast cancer, a whole food plant-based diet, and bonus points for colorful, high fiber, and low fat. Exercise, being active, super important. We want to limit alcohol, and we want to maintain a healthy weight. Those are the prongs that keeping it simple to prevent breast cancer from ever occurring. Or if you do end up being diagnosed, it can actually help your odds and lower your risk of a recurrence. So this is all science-based, and I've been teaching these types of classes for many years. So today's event, we're featuring our drug course. We're hoping to make up some noise about this important cause. And be sure to pick up some literature from the Plan Diego table over there. There's Patty, and she has literature. And please go ahead and grab some for your colleagues, for your friends, your family. These are things where we really want to get the word out, because a lot of people have no idea how diet can actually affect your cancer risk. So make sure that stick around. We're going to have our drug course play a little more. We're going to have interactive Doctors Without Borders. And then we're going to take the world's biggest selfie with our signs and our banners, and make sure also afterwards that you visit the local vendors here at the Vegan Food Pop-Up. And then if you go to the Tracy's Real Foods booth, I'm offering for the first time my Cancer Kicking Buddha Bowl, which was adapted by breast cancer surgeon Christy Funk's recipes. It features recipes from my book, America Goes Vegan, which is for sale at my booth. So when I first heard of Dr. Christy Funk, who's heard of her? So she became a breast cancer surgeon to the stars when she did a double mastectomy for Angelina Jolie many years ago, because she tested positive for BRCA, which largely increases your risk of breast cancer. So in the back of my mind, I thought to myself, like, is she also talking to her about her diet? Is she, during this, she got a lot of media attention, like, well, it would be nice if she talked about how foods affect cancer too. Well, lo and behold, years later, she wrote the book Breasts and Owner's Manual. And during her book research, she determined that plants are magic against cancer, and especially breast cancer. So now she's heading this campaign, Let's Beat Breast Cancer, and talking about prevention. And her website, Pink Lotus, has lots of key information and stuff. So she's been on TV many times promoting this idea. So thankfully, the world, the tide is turning, and people are learning about nutrition. So I'd like to introduce our special guest today. So Michelle, founder of the Vegan Food Pop-Up, is here to share a few words. Come on up, Michelle.
We cannot hear you. Cannot hear anything.
So I first met Donna Pinto back when the movie What the Hell came out. Has anybody seen that movie? What the Hell? So that movie was coming out, and we actually had a local screening, and our organizations, Plan Diego and Give Wellness, her organization, partnered to have a big event and a screening at La Paloma. And she has a wonderful story to share. The thing is about that film and other films like it is that it really can help people to lives around. So it's great to recommend forks over knives, with the help, all those great jokes. All right, thanks, Donna. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Never talked on one of these before, and thank you, Tracy, for inviting me to share my story today. I call it my health regimen story. I first want to acknowledge all the people here that are on a healing journey, and as well all the people that are here supporting anyone on a healing journey. It's very important, and again, Tracy, San Diego, and PCRM for doing this. I couldn't believe when I was given a diagnosis almost 14 years ago. I thought I was healthy. I was a vegetarian for many years, and I was very fit, and I was into health and wellness. And when I was given this diagnosis, it was called DCIS. Can I see who here has ever heard of DCIS? Not a lot of people, mostly the ones that know me or that have been through breast cancer. So it was quite shocking to know that there is something called ductal carcinoma in situ. Carcinoma means cancer, as we know, in situ is in place. It's really not cancer, it's a pre-cancer. However, the medical community does not understand which ones will turn into cancer, so they treat it very aggressively. So when I was told I had DCIS, in the next sentence, this nurse told me, you know, we treat it as though it's cancer, and your choices of treatment are a partial mastectomy, and 7 weeks of daily radiation, or a mastectomy, which is a removal of the whole breast. And I just thought, wow, that is like very radical for something that's not yet cancer, and may never become cancer. As I later found out in my research, 80% will not become cancer. I actually had the kind that was considered low risk. So I just went into shock, as most people do when they're given a diagnosis with the word cancer. But for some reason I went home that night and I sent out an email to all my friends and family. And a lot of people don't do this, but this is what I did, thankfully. And I said, good news, bad news. The good news, it's early stage 0 is what they were calling it. But it's very treatable with these treatments, aggressive treatments, which I just said. And I got a lot of love and support back from lots of people. But the next day, I got a phone call from my friend Adriana. And she's from Colombia. And she said to me, no, no, no. No, no, no. You're not going to do these invasive treatments. You're going to come and see me. And I'm going to teach you all about healing from the inside out and how the body works. And cancer is not something to be afraid of. It's a symptom, and you don't even have cancer. But there's ways of reducing your risk without doing these very radical treatments. And she said to me, if you put off this MRI, which they told me I needed to do before seeing a medical oncologist and a radiation oncologist and cancer care navigator, I mean, the whole thing was so overwhelming. She said, if you put your MRI off for 1 month, everything will be clear. And I said, I'll do whatever you say. So I did this raw cleanse for 2 weeks. We did an intensive weekend with just juices and teas and tonics, and I lost a lot of weight, which I really didn't need to lose. But anyway, after a month, I have the MRI, and there's nothing there. It's all clear. So I was pretty convinced. And not only that, I had all this chicken skin on the back of my arms, and I thought it was hereditary, and an athlete's foot, and eczema. All of that cleared up.
Wow.
So I knew that the body can heal when you get rid of the junk. And I didn't have that much junk, but I wasn't really aware of how dairy was affecting me. So I was a vegetarian, so I gave up dairy. And that was significant. Sugar, caffeine, alcohol, and some other acid-forming foods. So she taught me about this. So I went to my doctor and I said, I want to do this active surveillance. And, you know, this is becoming popular. I read an article. The doctor said, you know, you don't want to wait till it's not treatable. Just more fear, really
putting into me the fear of cancer. So I kind of just had to go on my own. I didn't find a lot of support out there. So I ended up being the change because I didn't find it. I created a website called DCIS 411. And if you're like my age, you remember 411 was information back in the day. That website has helped thousands of women all over the world. I have been interviewed on Inside Edition and various investigative reports, and so I've gotten a lot of media and attention, but really, it just goes away. I mean, these are the kinds of things, what we're doing today all over the country, that need to happen, and we need to educate the doctors and the nonprofits, and I've been a patient advocate now for several years within the medical research as well, and trying to understand why there's no studies on people like me, because it's been 14 years, I've never had cancer. I was treated like a cancer patient, so I understand what cancer patients go through, and it's really frightening. And they don't give information, like Tracy was saying, about the diet and lifestyle, which I know is the way to health enlightenment. And I just wish that everyone had this information. I try to put it all out there for free. I also created a small nonprofit called Give Wellness. Like Tracy said, that's how I found her. I had a little box of Jimbos, and she called me up, and we partnered together. And that's what it's all about, coming together and partnering. When you know better, you do better. That's from Maya Angelou. And so here I am, 14 years later. This is a lifetime commitment. This is not a diet. It's forever. And it's feeling great. And I just wish for everyone here to have their own health enlightenment journey, no matter what their diagnosis is or their condition. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Donna. So I love sharing Donna's story with people that I mean, especially if they're diagnosed with DCIS stage 0. So now let's welcome Derek up here, Dr. Derek Kwan. There he is. So he's an anesthesiologist and pain medicine who's passionate about health and wellness and living a whole plant-based vegan lifestyle. And I first met Derek, Dr. Kwan, when we appeared together as panelists at the Vegan Festival at the Waterfront Park back in April. I was super impressed with his knowledge and his own personal story. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, looks like everybody's having a great time here. We're gonna crush and beat breast cancer. So my story's not quite as long. I'm Dr. Derek Kwan. I'm an anesthesiologist and pain management physician. I have been plant-based for over 7 years, and how I got started was one of my colleagues during residency introduced me and challenged me to eat plant-based, and they told me to watch a documentary called Forks Over Knives. So I had to watch that documentary, and I was very wowed by it, and that led me to watching other documentaries and doing more research into this lifestyle. And I had already been trending towards plant-forward vegetarian lifestyle just because as a medical student in the anatomy lab, I just was pretty grossed out by the cadavers, and I couldn't really prepare and cook meat at home. So I was already trending towards that, but watching the documentaries really sealed the deal for me. So then after that, me and my wife, we decided to go on a 30-day plant-based vegan challenge and try to do fully whole food, unprocessed plant-based meals. And that was 7 years ago, and that challenge has been going on ever since. And we're not looking back. And when I dig into more of the research, I began to realize that we can do a lot more for our health, and we actually have more control than we think. So with breast cancer, it's actually the leading cancer now in the world. It overtook lung and colorectal cancer. There's over 2 million diagnoses in the world. And interestingly, yes, some of it is genetic. About 10% is from the BRCA genes. But vast majority of them we can actually control. We could control some of these, the way these genes express. And we could do that by lifestyle. And so one of the 4 pillars of lifestyle that we're promoting is number 1, eat plants, so eat a plant-based diet. Number 2, exercise regularly. Number 3, limit your alcohol. And number 4, maintain a healthy weight. So number 1, eat plants. That's pretty self-explanatory. Try your best as you can to eat an unprocessed, whole food, plant-based diet. And why is that? Because number 1, you're reducing or eliminating your meat intake, which, especially processed meats, are a known carcinogen by the WHO. And you're also getting a lot of the phytochemicals and phytonutrients that plants offer. Some of your lycopenes and isoflavones. A lot of these help reduce the oxidative stress on your cells and help repair DNA and prevent DNA damage. So that's number 1. Number 2, why limit alcohol? I know sometimes it can be hard, especially in social occasions, but really the less you drink, the better, or the more you drink, the higher your risk will be. And so why is that? So alcohol is it's actually a direct toxin, especially to your nerves and your liver. It's a neurotoxin. As an interventional anesthesiologist, I do pain management procedures. One of the procedures that I do is I pretty much eradicate some nerves that you don't really need leading up to the sympathetic nervous system for patients who have pancreatic cancer. And one of the agents that we inject is alcohol. So alcohol does a really good job of destroying your nerves. So I have first-hand experience of how it works. And not only is alcohol a toxin, but some of its metabolites are toxins too. So acetaldehyde is a direct metabolite of alcohol, and it is shown to damage DNA and remove cancer cells. Okay, so 3, why exercise regularly? It's because if you exercise, you're generally more fit, you're likely going to maintain a healthy weight, and you're going to increase your insulin sensitivity, reduce your risk of diabetes, and also reduce your risk of cancer. And of course, healthy weight has been shown that if you have excess weight and fat and adipose tissue, a lot of these fat cells are estrogen promoting, which directly increases your risk of breast cancer. So those are the 4 pillars. Again, eat plants, exercise regularly, and maintain a healthy weight, and limit your alcohol. And ever since I've been on this journey for the past 7 years, I've noticed quite a bit of a change in my own health. I've gotten a lot slimmer, I feel a lot healthier, I have more energy. I also don't have the chicken skin that Donna talked about. I also breathe a lot better. For some reason I used to have a lot of congestion, especially at night, and it was hard for me to breathe. But after switching to a plant-based diet, I don't know how, but I just breathe a lot better. And overall I feel better about myself, and it might be just because I'm less inflamed and my body's feeling a lot less stressed. When I started, I was lucky because there were a lot of resources that were available for me. When Tracy started, going plant-based or vegan wasn't as mainstream or popular, and she had to do a lot of things herself. But now, there's so many resources online. You can get Tracy's cookbooks or visit their sites, and there's a lot of great resources that are there. So that's my journey, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.